Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me here this morning. And if you want to follow along, we will be back in the 16th chapter of the book of Proverbs, and we are going to make a interesting shift here. We're going to change, for whatever reason, to the topic. Solomon changes, not us. Solomon's going to change to talk about. He's been talking about the rule of God. Now he's going to be talking about earthly rulers and their responsibility to also serve God. And so we begin in verse 10. He says, "A divine sentence is in the lips of the king. His mouth transgresseth not judgment." A divine sentence means that the words of the king, the order of the king, that when he does speak, he should seek out and attempt with all that he can to speak. He says that his mouth doesn't transgresseth not in judgment. In other words, that what he says will correspond with the word of God. That the king, the leader, is an agent of God in this world, that he is put in that place by God, and should be carrying out that remembering that as he carries out his duties. A just weight and a balance are the Lord's; all the weights of the bag are his work. So here again, he's what he's saying is that God has established that businesses should be honest, and that rulers should be fair and balanced and honest in their work as well, and to make sure that those under his rule do the same thing. That especially in his administration, that there's that he protects his administration from any kind of corruption. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. The ruler himself should hate any form of corruption or unrighteousness in his reign, because his job depends on that. That the people who serve him, the people who are in his government, act correctly, and if they don't, he says it is an abomination to God. And righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him that speaketh right. The leader, the ruler, the king, whatever position we're talking about, should value those who speak the truth. We see that in the workplace today. Many of those who are in authority, even in the workplace, typically we call them yes men. They want people, it seems like they want to surround themselves with people who nod and smile at everything they say and do. But God says a wise leader wants people that will tell them the truth. One of the favorite men I ever worked for in my life was that way. He actually would get upset when people did try to just yes him. He wanted you to tell him, if he was making a plan and you saw a flaw in it, or something that could be a potential problem, he wanted to hear it. And a wise man will do that. Not just a ruler, but anybody, parent, husband, will value honesty and truth around them. The wrath of a king is as messengers of death, but a wise man will pacify it. And so, again, kings in that day, they could speak and have the execution of people. And one of the things that you can only imagine was too common, was kings abusing that privilege. And what the proverb here is saying, what Solomon is teaching us, is that we need to be cautious in making our leader, whether it's our manager at work or whatever position, be cautious in making someone who has authority over us angry. I have over the years had opportunities to be on jury duty or other reasons be in the courtroom. And it seems like it never fails. If you've been there, you've probably seen this as well, that some amateur Perry Mason comes in the courtroom and wants to argue with the judge and wants to try to argue law with the judge. So far, in my experience, I've never seen that work. When it's like people who want to argue and fuss with the policeman. I've always said, a man comes up to my car with a gun and a nightstick and a badge, I'm pretty much going to do what he says. Now, I may call his boss tomorrow, but right then he's the authority. And that's what Solomon's saying, is that that a wise man knows to be careful with those in authority. And then the final proverb of this section says, "In the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is a cloud of the latter rain." Again, it's good to have the authority, the king, like you. To have his favor, and to have him in that, to be kind of, I guess, to be on his, to have him on your side. It's a wise man that knows that. And this is an interesting section of Proverbs for me. It's kind of back and forth between the way the wise leader ought to govern and the way that his people, even when they have a wicked ruler, should remember that they are the authority. And again, we live in a world today where, with the media and everything else, there's so much upheaval, but I think we're reminded here of what the Bible teaches us. They may not be the ruler we would like. They may not be the ruler that we would have chosen, but if they are there, and we're just a few days away, probably many of you have already voted here in America, and as we come to, we're going to have some people who win and are put in office who we probably you may not agree with, may not be the person you chose, but if they are in authority, God placed them there and we have an obligation to respect the authority and the leaders that are put over us. And one of the things that, and I spoke about this a few weeks ago on Wednesday night, one of the things that I think can harm our witness is how we speak about the authorities over us, whether it's our supervisor at work or our government. That as Christians, we need to be cautious in how we speak of the authorities that God has placed in our life. All right, let's think about that. And interesting section of Proverbs. And you have a good day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.